Good morning, and thank you for joining us. My name is Vern Sallee, and I'm honored to have been invited to speak at Arizona Drone Fest. Today, I'll be focused on best practices in integrating public safety drones into daily operations. First, a bit about myself. I'm a 25-year veteran of the Chula Vista Police Department, recently retired. I was a captain the last 6 years of my career and retired as the patrol operations captain. I was second in command to the chief of police and was the founder and manager of the department's drone program. Since retirement, I now work for Axon, a leading public safety technology company, as a strategist for Axon Air, Axon's public safety drone solution. Looking at Arizona Drone Fest speaker lineup, I'm humbled by the abundance of experience and talent. From my former colleagues, Captain Don Redman and retired Captain Fritz Reber, to my friends, Brendan Groves with Skydio and retired Chief Charles Werner with Drone Responders, and so many more. The speaker lineup is truly impressive. I've had the honor to do some pretty cool drone stuff before I retired from policing, and now I'm with a company that's going to help out a lot of other police departments with their drone programs. But before I talk about the present and the future, I'd like to chat about a few things I've learned along the way so that others can learn from our challenges and our successes. As a bit of history, I was a captain at Chula Vista PD in 2016 when officers started approaching me about the need to start a drone program. At the time, I was the captain in charge of technology, so it really was a natural fit. But on the other hand, I viewed police drones as a challenging endeavor in some respects, and I had absolutely zero experience with drones. But even as a drone neophyte, I looked at the UAS space and law enforcement and saw many agencies roll out programs without much thought or preparation, specifically failing to engage with their communities. While some agencies took a systematic, professionalized approach to drones, many others failed to consider important factors to the long-term successes of their program, at least in my opinion. To be frank, many agencies were approaching drone program deployment haphazardly, and it cost them in the court of public opinion. Drones as a tool are fantastic, but safety, transparency, and professionalism must be paramount when launching a public safety drone program. As a senior police official, part of my job was to understand all the costs and challenges of a new program, and drones hit on all fronts. Public acceptance, FAA regulations, FCC regulations, technological integration into operations, pilot training, policy, maintenance, airspace awareness, flight logs, and the list goes on and on. Anyone in public safety who feels that they can just buy a consumer drone and start responsibly flying drone missions is taking critical and unnecessary risks. Establishing a public safety drone program is a serious endeavor. The public's trust is at stake, and their safety is at stake. Local agencies are also not necessarily accustomed to dealing with the FAA regulatory structure and the time and effort that it takes to have a certificate of authorization approved, or to have it denied time and time and time again. Any of you who've submitted a code to the FAA realize that it's a challenging and long-term system. Keep in mind that the FAA is a regulatory agency that has decades of experience with systems in place to ensure the safety of manned aviation, and a relatively short span of time since they began integrating drones into the National Airspace System, or NAS. Integrating millions of new aircraft in the system is a steep challenge and will take time to fully implement. To add some perspective, there are about 18,000 police agencies in the United States, counting state, local, tribal, and territorial, and there are over 27,000 fire departments. To my knowledge, only slightly more than 200 police departments have dedicated manned aviation units. This means that flight operations, and drone operations more specifically in the NAS, are new to about 45,000 public safety agencies, which employ almost 2 million public safety professionals. There's a steep learning curve ahead for our profession, and agencies should be preparing now if they've not already established drone programs. And if they do have existing drone programs, agencies should constantly be looking for ways to improve and professionalize their operations. There is no end state for safety. It must take priority in every aspect of a drone program on a daily basis. Looking back at the formation of Chula Vista's now well-known drone program, one of the most important decisions we made was public engagement first. While police helicopters have been around for decades, drones are mysterious to many members of the public, and they do not understand how they will be used in law enforcement. Left to the imagination of some in the public, drones can be framed as surveillance tools that are disruptors of privacy and civil rights. When establishing a public safety drone program, leaders must have a healthy respect for constitutional rights to privacy, freedom from unwarranted government intrusion, and the rights to freedom of speech and expression. By considering civil rights first, agencies may then put in place policies to prohibit the misuse of drones and bolster public confidence. As public safety professionals, we intrinsically know that our mission is to use drones for good, but we must also put it in policy and in practice to maintain the public's trust. Having the public weigh in on policy and being as transparent as possible will garner goodwill and help ensure the success of your drone program. Now, speaking of the investment, while drones are dramatically more cost-effective to purchase and to operate on an hourly basis than manned aircraft, properly implemented public safety drone programs are not inexpensive. There are many factors to consider well beyond the cost of an enterprise-level drone or a fleet of drones, even if the equipment investment is initially only a few $1,000s to tens of thousands of dollars. Agencies must plan for ancillary costs beyond that of equipment itself. There's initial pilot training, ongoing pilot training, supervision of pilots, flight logging, evidence handling, flight planning, cybersecurity, ongoing maintenance on batteries and motors, just to name a few. Depending on salaries and other factors, these costs can easily dwarf the initial cost of drone equipment and should be planned for and budgeted for a fully realized drone program. Remember, if you are a public official at any rank involved in a drone program, be it a pilot to a supervisor or manager, your first duty is to flight safety and to public safety. A professional drone program will take all of the above factors and more into account to ensure flight safety and adhere to the regulations of flying in the national airspace system. But on to the benefits. I really hope I haven't scared off most of the audience with the facts I've laid out so far, because I want to express the benefits of public safety drones are countless. My experience at Chula Vista in more than 4 years of running the drone program, which has flown over 3,700 missions to date, by the way, leaves no doubt in my mind that a properly implemented drone program saves lives on a daily basis. Chula Vista's drone program has 3 primary components: drone as a first responder, or DFR, tactical drones, and mapping drones. Most of you are familiar with tactical drones and mapping drones, but some may not be familiar or heard the concept of drone as a first responder, or DFR, which was pioneered at Chula Vista PD. I should also note right now that this program at Chula Vista never would have been successful were it not for former Captain Fritz Reber conceiving of the drone as a first responder concept, and Chief Roxana Kennedy's leadership and risk-taking to support the groundbreaking concept. Rather than go into a lengthy description of what public safety drones do, let me show you a short two-minute video which demonstrates the life-saving power of public safety drones. I hope that the audience found that video compelling, and I apologize that it was not as professionally produced as I would have liked, but the facts are there before our very eyes. A fully integrated drone program is a powerful tool for good. I'm going to focus on law enforcement specifically for a moment. We've all seen the important national discussion and attention given to policing this year. There is a demand for better safety, justice, and equality, and agencies must seek every avenue to meet the challenge. I've just shown you that drones are a powerful de-escalation tool, a tool that saves lives, a tool that may be used to bend the future of call outcomes to the good with real-time intelligence. Within the national discussion, let's just consider the mental health crises that we see around us every day. Consider those among us who suffer from mental illness and may be under the influence of alcohol or any number of powerful illicit drugs. Consider that many are homeless and without adequate support systems to treat their illness. Police departments across the country receive thousands of calls from citizens reporting people in various states of crisis, and they are on the front lines in dealing with this really vexing issue. Some people in crisis are fairly passive, but some can be aggressive, challenging, violent, and very difficult to deal with. Officers confront people in mental health crises every day. And as Chief Kennedy likes to say, we don't have a crystal ball to know their criminal history, their mental state, what drugs they are on, if they're armed, or many other factors. All we typically have is a frightened or concerned citizen on 911 calling to ask for help with the problem. Here is where drones save lives. A drone can give first responders an aerial view and critical information as to the subject's location, actions, and even if they appear to be armed or not. More importantly, a drone can tell first responders and supervisors about how much time they have to deal with the issue. A massive part, a huge part of de-escalation is buying time to diffuse an incident. Long after a 911 caller is hung up and stopped providing information, drones can tell us if the person is an immediate threat to themselves or others, or if they are alone and calmed down and are past the crisis phase. As I mentioned before, this information allows officers, supervisors, and managers to bring the right resources to bear. Resources such as mental health response teams, less lethal tools, police canines, or simply waiting out the crisis. This information, combined with proper resources, tactics, and tools, helps provide for better and safer call outcomes for everyone. While this example was for mental health calls, similar benefits are realized across a large cross-section of police-related calls for service. And I would be remiss if I did not also share my experience with assisting the Chula Vista Fire Department with drone coverage. We really made the decision early on to share live drone footage with the fire department and to fly to fire department calls, such as medical aid calls, traffic collisions, structure fires, and brush fires. The ability to provide real-time, live-streamed information to firefighters, fire captains, and battalion chiefs is just as critical to fire operations. Chula Vista Police Department has worked in tandem with the Chula Vista Fire Department on many dozens of emergency calls, and drones have had a positive impact on almost all of those calls, and they have a positive impact every day. So as I begin to close, I just want to emphasize that properly implemented and integrated into operations, public safety drones give first responders real-time information and intelligence. This intelligence allows officials to bring the proper tactics, tools, and resources to bear on a given situation to influence the best outcome. I like to point out that in my experience, the drones make not only officers and other first responders safer, they make citizens safer, and they even make the subjects that police officers contact safer. As I mentioned, Chula Vista is truly a unique use case for drones. Chief Kennedy and I have had the honor to present the program to numerous industry and public safety conferences nationally and even internationally, and on dozens of virtual panels. It is clear to me that my colleagues in public safety sector understand the benefits of drones and wish to build programs using best practices. If there's one thing I know, public first responders are passionate people. They care about their communities, and they care about life-saving, the public safety, and they especially care about keeping their colleagues safe so they can continue to serve their community. There are three things I want you to take away from this presentation. One, when establishing your drone program, engage your community and tell your public safety story. If you do not tell your safety story, somebody else will tell a different story, and it will impede the progress of your program. Nothing about a public safety drone program should be secret, except protecting the video evidence to respect personal privacy. Transparency is the key to a public safety drone program's long-term success. Number two, professionalize your program. Public safety drone programs are serious business, and sending drones into the national airspace system is serious business. Prioritize flight safety and avoid air and ground hazards. Follow applicable regulations and invest in the proper equipment to do the job right. Three, most of all, invest in your people. Give them the proper training, equipment, policies, and protocols to follow. Initial and ongoing training is essential, and there must be adequate supervision of the program. When incidents occur, and they inevitably will occur, a public safety UAS team must assess and reflect upon the root cause and make changes to bolster the long-term success of the program. While I'm now in the private sector working with Axon, I'm still a resource to my brothers and sisters in public safety. Axon's mission statement is simple: protect life. That is the mission of everyone in public safety, my mission for the last 25 years as a cop, and my mission for the foreseeable future. At Axon, while my job is to support the company's goal, their larger mission allows me to be a public safety drone advocate and share my thoughts and experience with my colleagues who are still on the front lines protecting their communities. Please do not hesitate to call upon me if I can be of help. My email is vsallee, S-A-L-L-E-E, @axon.com, and you can also find me on LinkedIn. Thank you again to Darshan and to the Arizona Drone Fest for allowing me to speak. Please stay well and stay safe.